Mm,
That's like 27.
okay.
Someone's calling. Go towards the front so you can't see how big the crowd is.
Yeah, that's fine. Fine. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking time out of your very, very busy schedules. My name is Bobby Jones. I am president of Veterans for Responsible Leadership. That is a nationwide veterans organization, about 9,000 members and hopefully growing. It started out as an organic Facebook group back in I want to say 2018. And my classmate, my Annapolis classmate, Dan Barkoff, was the one who started it, and it grew into an actual organization. And Dan, who is from Maine, is an underachiever, Navy SEAL, emergency room trauma surgeon that graduated from Harvard Medical School and the Naval Academy. He sucks. No, he's actually like Captain America. So, and for some reason, he decided to turn over the reins to me here at the beginning of the year. I am a Fayetteville native, Fayette County native. Moved here when I was 8 years old. Went to the Naval Academy, served 22 years, and then came back home. And did not like what I saw when I came back home, like so many people. This is a joint endeavor with Hold the Line, and I will definitely let Marcus talk about himself. It's a very powerful man over there. And also with Common Defense. And I'll let a very, very articulate young man by the name of Ed talk to you here in a second as well. But the specific reason that we are here is because there have been some changes that have happened in our country since, well, really since 2017, but January 20th of this year. And a lot of these changes have disproportionately affected different segments of the population, to include the veterans population. America has close to 7 million vets, all right? To put that in proper perspective for everybody, there's about 340 million Americans. We have about a little under 2 million active duty servicemen and women that are currently serving. So you're talking about literally less than 1% that's protecting the other 99%. These issues that veterans are dealing with, that active duty will eventually deal with, they matter. They matter because they're usually a barometer of what's going to happen to the larger population. Okay? You look at it historically. We want to talk about some of these issues. And plus, we also want to hear specifically what you guys are seeing in your communities, in your everyday life. Because to be completely honest, things that are happening that the media talks about is the tip of the iceberg. If you know friends, if you know family that have gone through different changes here in the new administration, we'd love for you to talk to us about it, because some of us will be going up to Capitol Hill here in the next couple of weeks to directly take it to Congress and have them do their job. So that being said, what kind of challenges are we talking about right now? Well, Veteran Affairs. So for those who don't know, the Department of Veteran Affairs is something that started actually at the Revolutionary War, but it literally became its own department in the 30s during the Great Depression. It was moved to a cabinet level position under Reagan. It is serious. Why did that happen under Reagan? Because you had a bunch of World War II vets that were in their final stages of life suffering a lot. So it became elevated. Veterans and the VA have a love-hate relationship. For those of you who are not veterans, it's dicey. That being said, we finally got movement on getting enough people to help vets around the country, especially in some of our more remote areas. That has been reversed here in the last 80 days. Okay? There have been hiring freezes. There have been over 5,000 people just straight up fired out of the VA. You have people who have expired, died on waiting lists to be seen, and a suicide hotline cut off within the first 72 hours of the new administration coming in. Let me be very clear. I don't care about right, left, independent. I don't care. When you serve 22 years, and I'm a global war on terrorism vet, class of 2001 out of the Naval Academy, 109 days after President Bush gave me and Katie our diplomas, we went to war for 20 years, fought the longest war in the nation's history. I could care less about your political leanings. What I do care about is doing the right thing, period, okay? Gutting the VA is an issue. We're dealing with veteran-owned businesses that had great pathways to be independent and to take care of other people, gutted by the grants and the funds. The same things that are happening to the farmers that you see in the Midwest are happening to veteran-owned businesses here, okay? This is not a coincidence. You have people who are in the military right now, and I only retired 18 months ago. So I still have a lot of close friends that are in who are hating their life. I have friends that are in the LGBT community that have served this nation for 2 decades, and they're like, all of a sudden, I don't matter. I have friends of mine who literally have family dependents that need, IEPs at their schools, this, that, and the other. Well, the Department of Education is getting gutted. They're not going to get it. Their kids will struggle. Okay, there are ripple effects that are happening, and the outsized feeling of veterans is amplified because it's such a small community that is expected to deploy and do all of these things, right? And most importantly, and here's my pet peeve, right? I can't stand hypocrisy. I hate hypocrites. Okay, what we've seen with stuff like Signalgate. If I would have did that, if Mar would have did that, if Marcus would have did that, if any of us that served had done that, we'd be in jail. We'd be going to Fort Leavenworth. We'd be court-martialed, especially as officers, and sent to jail. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So there are things that are happening, and when I say responsible leadership, these are the things that we're facing real time as we sit here right now. That is my opening salvo, my opening intro. But as I said, I'm from Fayetteville. I love this place. I came back home to this place. I think it's the coolest place on earth. I think our courthouse, which is super old, is the coolest building in the state of Georgia. It's the oldest state house in the state of Georgia. It's right there. And it's something, if you're not taking a tour, please do. But I'd like to introduce Mr. Marcus Flowers from Hold the Line, and then we'll talk to Ed from Common Defense.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you all hear me? As Bobby alluded to, I'm Marcus Flowers. I am the founder of Hold the Line, but also Hold the Line is a PAC that's dedicated to the next generation of Democratic leaders. I ran a race myself. Is this okay, or can you guys hear me okay? All right. Also ran against Marjorie Taylor Greene in 2022 cycle. That's what most people know me for. Thank you. Now, that race didn't quite turn out the way we wanted, but that didn't mean I stopped fighting. I'm going to tell you why I decided to step up. Someone who served in the military, served our nation on 4 different continents with the DOD, supporting our soldiers, spent 10 years in combat zones in Iraq and Afghanistan. Politics was never my thing. My job was always the mission. My job was always to remember that oath that I swore 18 years old, to support and defend the Constitution. Put quite simply, my just youth. How many veterans we have in the room? Thank you all for your service. Thank you. As Bobby alluded to earlier, Veterans for Responsible Leadership. Now, I have a gripe as a 3rd District member. I used to live right here in Fayetteville as well, until DOD sent me out to Oklahoma to do other things with my life. Brian Jack is our representative. We all know who Brian Jack is. And I think Brian has forgotten that he serves we, the people, all of us, not Trump. I think we need to remind him of that. And when we talk about we, the people, veterans are a subject that are near and dear to my heart. disabled veterans. I've lost friends and family in wars of the last 2-3 decades. So they're a special group to me. Members of my family who served were the reason I served, because I come from a family of civil servants. Granddaddy was a sheriff and a farmer. Uncles were police captains, soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines. It's always been something that was special to me. I knew at 8 years old that what I wanted to do was serve this country. And I want our leaders to have that same passion. Because when you raise your right hand and you swear the oath to support and defend the Constitution, to serve the American people, that's what we expect. It's why I ran against Marjorie Taylor Greene, someone who doesn't understand, and I'm trying to be nice here, doesn't understand that her job is to represent the people of Georgia's 14th district. Brian Jack is having that same issue. Now, Brian Jack's no slouch. I mean, this guy, he's been around for a while in politics. He served in the first Trump administration as a political advisor. He was one of those guys who, in Trump's first campaign, was all about the delegate whatever for pushing back against the never Trumpers. So he's been around for a while. But he needs to understand, you no longer work for Donald Trump. You work for we, the people. Specifically, Mr. Jack sits on the committee, the so-called Doge committee. And Bobby alluded to this earlier, that has fired 5,000 VA workers. Roughly 30% of those workers were veterans. Furthermore, they're slated to fire another 83,000 workers this year, veterans, in a state like Georgia with, what do we have, 13 military installations, upwards of 600,000 veterans, 38,000 of which live right here in this district, myself included, all of us included. We need to ask Mr. Jack, why is he not taking care of his constituents? Has he forgotten about us? You look on his webpage and his list of issues, not one single mention of veterans. Mr. Jack also sits on the oversight committee. And I know this sounds like I might be running against a guy. I'm not. That's not what I'm doing. But I'm talking about our veterans here. We invited Mr. Jack here to this meeting to answer questions and talk about what is he going to do to protect our nation's veterans, our veterans right here in Georgia's 3rd Congressional District. I don't see him. But I'm asking him right now, if you're watching, Mr. Jack, what are you going to do to protect your constituents? He also sits on the oversight committee, along with someone that I ran against, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I just want to talk about, and this really irks me, some of the things that they're doing on that committee, where they have a guy, Donald Trump, who violates the Constitution on a daily, weekly basis. When you're talking about taking away birthright citizenship, you're talking about taking away our rights as veterans, things that we earn, Social Security, Medicare, you name it. We're talking about taking that away. And guys like Brian Jack and the other members who sit in Congress have abdicated, absolutely abdicated their authority and their power to Donald Trump. If we could do it today, I guarantee you, I would. I'd vote today. I'm going to end this again with a question to our congressman. What are you going to do to take care of your constituents, veterans specifically? What are you going to do? We're here asking the question, And we're not going to wait until the midterms to speak up. As Bobby said, some of us are going to DC and we're going to make our voices heard. I'll take your voice with me when I go to DC, and I'll stand and fight for you every day of the week and twice on Sunday, guys. God bless you. I'm Marcus Flowers. Thank you for your time. Ed.
First number. Now, good afternoon. It is really good to see all y'all here. My name's Ed Anderson. I am a retired high school science teacher and Air Force veteran. I taught in DeKalb County for 25 years, served in the Air Force for 10 years as a meteorologist. Just a little bit of background, since I'm a lightweight compared to these guys. One of the things that I did as a meteorologist was fly through hurricanes and typhoons. And then they figured if I was crazy enough to do that, I volunteered for what we call combat weather back then. And these were Army troops, Air Force troops assigned to Ranger battalions. So I'm used to meeting the mission. I am used to understanding what the mission is. I am as patriotic as any of these guys riding around here with American flags flying off the back of their trucks, but who will tell you that they would rather vote for Putin than Kamala Harris. Okay? I'm a senior citizen. I love being a senior citizen. I was 10 years old when Edmund Pettus Bridge happened. I grew up understanding that America wasn't this great dream that everybody envisioned it to be, but it was instilled in me by my parents that we had to put forth the effort to achieve the goals that we want. And against all odds, I was able to do that. First in the Air Force, and then in '89, I became the first Black meteorologist on an Atlanta TV station. I used to work at the Weather Channel, and then Johnny Beckman hired me at Channel 11. So I mention all that to say I love challenges. In between all of that, I bartended in Little Five Points. I drove a forklift on Spring Street. My kids call me anything for a buck. Now, that applies to that sucker in the White House right now. Anything for a buck. He is selling our nation down the river. I ain't buying no damn meme coin. Okay? Come on. And you know, if you give him enough money, you can go have dinner at Mar-a-Lago. Okay? And you know, when I look at stuff like that, and I see the attack on veterans, on the military, by these people that try to tell me I'm not a patriot because I didn't vote a certain way. I'm not a man of violence anymore, but I don't mind hitting somebody if they need to be hit. Okay? I mean, I'm just keeping it real. Now, at Common Defense, we are a very progressive veterans group. I will say, in terms of the Republican congressman for here, all I can say is he don't know Jack. All right? So I am not impressed by the man. I really enjoy Mara down front here, and she's a member of Common Defense, as well as Bryce sitting back there. But we are, as I said, we are a progressive veterans organization. We originally started as Vets Against Trump, and we've broadened it into other areas. I am the Georgia organizer. I'm here to help y'all reclaim the seat that rightfully belongs to true patriots. Okay? Don't call me out on my patriotism because I don't wear a red hat. Okay? It's going to sound corny, but I wear red, white, and blue. And that gives me the right to disagree as much as it does to agree. So we need to get up off our ass. I'm sorry. We need to get up off our butts, mobilize, motivate, energize those around us. Because, like Bobby said, there's 600,000 vets in Georgia. And about 37% of them did not vote. Okay? So one of the things that we're doing, and I'm going to close with this, at Common Defense, I'm starting a campaign called Boots to Ballots. And we are reaching out to military communities, veterans and their families, to educate and inform them about what their priorities should be. I've got some literature on the back table there. I know a town hall's about hearing from y'all, but if you want to fill out one of these cards, I'll be glad to. And we don't charge dues or anything, like none of our groups here do. But we are here, we are very proactive. We take the fight to the streets. Okay? So I'm going to end with that and turn it back over to my esteemed brother here. And look, let me just say this, because I believe in keeping it real. I love the fact that 3 black men are up here today. Okay? You can't tell me our country is not acting better because of what they call
Part of me wants to say it's, maybe it's coincidental that it's 3 black guys up here, but when I think about it, it's not. And here's the thing. Growing up here in Fayette County, when I moved to Fayette County at 8 years old, Fayette County was what, 94% white. And I played Little League Baseball over here at Kiwanis Field. I was the only black kid in my age group playing baseball. My parents were elected to the board for Little League the second they got here. That's how accepted we were in Fayette County. When I retired, I could have lived anywhere in the world. The Navy will send you. They're like, hey, wherever you want to go. I said, if I don't bring my black ass back to Fayette County, because I genuinely love this place, right? So it gets you thinking. And by the way, I'm gonna have Mara come up for a second, because even though she's not scheduled, I just want you to say hello. Because this woman who, Army vet, Colonel, Lieutenant Colonel, she went against Brian Jack. And this is not a political rally thing, but when you look and see what she was talking about when she ran, she was basically Miss Cleo. She predicted all of this. She predicted all of this that's happening, right? She said they're going to come after Medicare. They're going to come after Medicaid. They're going to come after veterans. And we did not listen. What should scare everybody, in my humble opinion, is the speed of which all of these things are happening. We are not even 100 days. 100 days for him, I want to say, is April 30th. I mean, it's unrecognizable, some of the things that have happened, right? And this is not hyperbole. This is not, oh, you're a liberal, blah, 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 blah. Hell no. I'm not that guy. I'm just telling you, I love history. Made it A+ in it. It's one of the few A+ I made at the Naval Academy. History. We are going through the same playbook other countries went through 100 years ago. It's happening real time. And for people to sit and do nothing is a problem. I wanted to retire, watch Falcons games, watch Braves games. That was it. That was it. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Every generation, Ronald Reagan said something great. Yes, the Republican. He said, freedom is not a birthright. You have to fight for it and then pass it to the next generation to do their job to preserve it. He was dead on accurate with that. I never thought when I took the oath, and the reason I love this shirt so much is, I never thought when I took that oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that the fight of my life would be against the domestic enemy. And I fought terrorists all over the world. That's where we are. But you know what? I got 2 daughters. One is about to turn 21, one is about to turn 17. They got less rights than their grandmother had at the same age. Now, if I can go and be in a sandbox like we all did to go after terrorists, you better believe I can come back home and tell that entitled son of a bitch, no. 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 So, Mar, I would like Mara Keller to come up for just 2 seconds and introduce herself, and then we're going to get to y'all and talk about what y'all are worried about.
Hi, everybody. I'm Laura Keller, and yes, I did run against Brian Jack. We're gonna try it again. It's phenomenal, and we have got to get more people involved because there's too much at stake for us. And we have got to take care of our current veterans and the ones that are right behind us. Because if we don't take care of them, our military, that service is people are not gonna wanna serve because they cannot trust us anymore. So we have to have that moral fortitude and do what needs to be done. So I'm ready. I know everybody in here. So for everybody, I know you got 5 people, 10 people. You find them, you get them with Bob, you get them with Ed, and we're make sure our voices are heard because they cannot touch our benefits.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. So real quick, just to give y'all a little bit about what's happening. Project 2025, if you've not seen Project 2025 or read it, it's 900 pages. I've read every page. They've made it much easier. There's a website where you can track all the changes and see the percentage of where they are. So what they're talking about doing specifically to veterans. At first, I read it, I got angry. Then I read it again, I got more angry. Then I started thinking, how are they doing it? Well, the first thing, the major thing that's happening, the reason they're gutting the VA and the healthcare system for veterans is because they want to privatize it. Okay, straight up. Privatization does a couple of things. It puts money in people's pockets. But most importantly, in my humble opinion, it breaks the sacred bond between the service member and the American people. Because oversight will be punted with it. Now, those of y'all who have regular insurance, those of y'all who deal with that, y'all know what that's like, right? Imagine someone who can barely walk. I saw a Korean War vet last year, barely hanging on, could barely move. For the first time, I went to the VA hospital up there in Atlanta. Who exactly? Exactly. That was my reaction because, I'm the hotshot former commanding officer, just retired off active duty. Yeah, I walked in there. I was like, oh my God, this is depressing. It was the most depressing place I'd ever been associated with in the military, right? And there was a Korean War vet that was there. And I just talked to this dude for like 2 seconds. And I was like, oh my God, why? He must be the most stubborn man on earth because the only reason he's still here is because he refused to die. It's the only reason. It's literally the only reason. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, and I want to say, what did he say? He lied to get in early? Because that's back during the draft era and kids are like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. The reality of it is, I personally could not see when I signed up the finish line of what my care and service would be like at the end. I never thought about it, right? And now I'm angry about it. And for them to privatize this, where are vets going to go to complain when they don't get the services they need? That's the question. Where are we going to go? Nowhere. That customer service rep or whoever we'll be talking to, we're like, oh, well, too bad, too sad, and hang up the phone. And Congress will just wipe their hands with it. President will wipe their hands with it. The Secretary of Veteran Affairs, who's from Georgia now, will wipe his hands of it. I have a problem with that. This is the number one thing they want to do because veterans cost too much. Right. Look, no one said that to me September 12th of 2001. No one said that to me. I was like, where do I got to go and what do I got to do? Now, all of a sudden, they don't want to pay the bill that comes due. That's a problem. Also, the dismantling of the DEI gender programs. Veterans, y'all realize y'all are DEI, right? If no one's told you, vets, you are literally a legally classified DEI category. That's how you can get preferences when you go to try to work for the government. That's how you get those healthcare benefits and things that other people don't. That is a special, as they love to say, set aside for your service. So as DEI goes away, veterans, that includes all of us. All of us. And eventually it's going to get into financial things when you try to start your business, VA home loans, all of that. They're going to take it because it's classified as DEI. The personnel cuts we've already talked about. And again, we're giving you the page numbers. Look it up. We're not making this up. We're giving you the source material. Who's actually trying to do something for it? We went through Democrat, Republican, Independent to see who's actually, since January 20th, made statements saying this is unacceptable. And I'm telling you now, the people who you expect to speak up have been speaking up. I saw Mark Kelly go off. I definitely saw Senator Duckworth go off. That woman, whew, she is hardcore, okay? All of these people that you see here have been out of their way doing that. Brian Kemp has one of the largest veteran populations in America as governor of Georgia. Per capita, no one serves more in the armed forces than the state of Georgia. As a Naval Academy graduate, we send more kids to service academies. That's West Point, Annapolis, Air Force Academy, more than any other state in the union. How do I know? I worked at missions for the Naval Academy for this area of the country. I know exactly what I'm talking about. We have the highest propensity to serve in the state of Georgia than any other place in America. This should be on the top of his agenda based on that fact alone. And it's not. He has not said anything since the new administration's come in. And Georgia has its own veterans setup, right? Those of us who've dealt with them has his own setup. What is his policy? I've heard nothing. Senator Ossoff has been very vocal about this. Matter of fact, I'm very impressed, to be honest with you, because he has gone down the list of how this affects veterans from a financial standpoint, right? Brian Kemp has not done anything. Warnock has done it, and Marcus, what is your homegirl said about veterans and veterans issues?
She's on the Trump train with suckers and losers.
Yeah.
Anything he says, he's just sick of him. He's gonna say it too, like fair.
Now, keep this in mind. All of this is happening. I say this. All of this is happening under the auspices of June 14th is Donald Trump's birthday. Now, wait a minute. Wait. I personally always thought of it as the Army's birthday. And it's the 50th anniversary of the founding of the United States Army, June 14th. It's also Flag Day. That's one of the reasons it is Flag Day, right? Now, if you've not heard, the president wants to have a very large military parade down the streets of Washington, D.C. Well, no, he's going to get it. He's going to get a military parade. It's going to be a lot of pissed off veterans. So June 14th, a lot of us, and I mean a lot of us, are going to give him the military parade he thinks he wants. And I say that because people are going to ask, what can I do about this? First thing is to show up in numbers. It's something to be said when you see people who can barely walk take it upon themselves to go to Pennsylvania Avenue and be like, this is unacceptable. It's a powerful statement. See, my version of what patriotism is one word: sacrifice. You want to see what patriots look like? Go to that same hospital I just talked about up in Atlanta. I'm not talking about the guy that got the 2005 Jeep Wrangler with the "Don't Tread on Me" sticker on the way up to freaking Lake Lanier. I'm not talking about that person. I'm talking about that person that wears that U.S. Army or U.S. Navy hat retired that's all faded out and stuff like that. And when they wake up in the morning to get up, it hurts. Those are patriots. How do I know? Because I'm one of those dudes. I'm a bowl of Rice Krispies, snap, crackle, pop every morning when I get up. It's bad. It's bad. But I'm telling you, if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it. I'd do it. Why? So my kids can live in an environment that I got to grow up here, right here in Fayetteville, right? Town halls. We have at VFRL, we have letters to the editors kits. We will help you put together a letter. AJC, freaking right here in Fayette County, the Citizen, whatever. Write these people. Flood them, because the loudest voices in the room right now are the biggest idiots in the room. Veterans Military, we are trained to be apolitical and be very silent, right? And I understand why while we're wearing the uniform. But let me tell y'all something. I have gotten text after text and email after email from people who are still in. They can't speak up. We have to speak for them. I had one master sergeant, she hit me up. She's 101 Airborne, 101st Airborne, from her actual account. I said, look, you need to get off of this email account and text me. But that's how mad she was. She was like, what is happening? Right? I get it. My brother, he's a reservist. He can't say anything. He's one of those DEI black pilots that went to the Air Force Academy. He's like, I worked hard. My brother flew to U-2, man. That's like rare. But apparently, he should have never been there. So I take it personal. Because when Brian Jack or Donald Trump or all these people sitting there saying, you know, I know what American is, I know what being a patriot is, you don't deserve A, B, and C. I'm like, where the hell were you? Donald Jr. is my age. Where the hell was he after 9/11?
And Trump called Elon Musk.
This is what we're dealing with. But if we are not, you should have in your phone your representative's number, and every week just put in your battle rhythm. Call them. Call them. Even if they're like, man, it's them again. You damn right it's me again. Yes. Call them. Right? When you write to your local editor, people think that's old fashioned. It's not. You know why? Number one, it puts your words in historical context. One day history's gonna look back and be like, what did you do? I'm like, oh wait. Sally Q from Fayette County said this is ridiculous. She was in the Fayette Citizen. She was in the those things matter, right? Because there's gonna be some kid like me that loves history that'll look that up in 5 years and be like, oh, so there was a resistance to this. You want to be on record doing it. But all of that being said, we need to hear from y'all. It's been, and this can go back to the first administration. It can go back beyond that. It can go, no, I don't care anymore. I need to know how these policies are affecting y'all. Because when I go to DC, when Marcus goes to DC, we want to be able to say, hey, Marcus Taylor Green, Brian Jack, take a look at this. What's your answer to this? What's your answer to this? Get them on record. Now, they may tap dance around things, that's fine. But we will set the music that they dance to. Understand? We have to. Because if we let this go unchecked, like right now in 2025, where are we going to be 4 years from now, or 3.5 years from now, when this man's trying to run for a third term? Where are we going to be 2 years from now after midterms and no one showed up, and now this has become calcified in American society? Where's it going to happen? I mean, at some point, you got to get sick and tired of being punched in the face until you ball your fist up and punch back. And that's where I'm at. I played linebacker at Navy. I can't do this. Oh, well, we'll just wait till the midterm. Midterms may never get here. I'm just being real with you. Midterms may not get here because are you confident that you're going to have a free and fair election in 2026? I mean, in the state of Georgia, they're about to purge how many thousand people off the books? So you guys, the urgency of now, as Dr. King said, the urgency of now. And if veterans ain't the ones going to stand up for it, then who is? You know, I'm 46. 46 years old. But I'll tell you this: there's something freeing about when you raise your hand at 18 and say, I'm willing to die for something. You know what I'm saying? There's something freeing about it. And bets y'all know, there's that moment where you're like, man, do I really want to do this? And it's like, yeah, I want to do this. And now, you know, people have told me, oh, I've seen some of the videos you've done. You got to be careful. Careful for what? Careful for what? Be quiet. Don't do this. I can't in good conscience sit here and watch people who I love, people who I've gone to war with, people who I've helped bury and their families deal with this bullshit. And then my personal pet peeve, it'd be different if this was just all about what's happening. They're erasing history. My wife's grandfather was a Tuskegee Airman. My grandfather was a Korean War vet, serving in some of the first integrated units in the Army's history. I'll be damned if I let them erase that. You understand? So that being said, veterans, I need y'all to get up and do what y'all have always done, and that's be, I don't know, basically the jerk in the room. So let's go ahead and talk. Oh, here, you take this mic right here. Perfect.
I know a lot of people here. You know me, my name is Bryce. I used to be a vice chair here at I wrapped up here saying they're in Air Force Academy.
Eh.
Yeah. I have two stories real quick. One, I was at that same VA hospital in Atlanta, and I'm got a 30% disabled, thing for my time in service. And I was talking to my ET doctor up there, and I asked him, I said, hey, he goes, just take a long sigh. He goes, I got the email saying that I needed to send my 5 things. And I said, well, what did you put? He said, took a very long, deep breath, and I said, pardon my language here, he goes, I said, my fucking job. I said, the last 35 years.
Yeah.
And this is his response that he said, these are real people. These are dedicated their lives serving us after we serve. I would not have gotten surgery up there at the VA if I didn't trust that guy and put my life in his hands to do it for me.
Yep.
So those are real people that are being affected every single day, are having their livelihoods and their lives threatened by what they've done for others. My second thing is just I'm a first generation American. My dad immigrated when he was a small child, ended up going to the Air Force, retired as a 2-star general. I went to the Air Force Academy. Father-in-law happened to go to the Air Force Academy. I've got a sister that served 23 years in the military. Brother-in-law that's still in the reserves. And just recently, I'm sorry if I get choked up on this, I had a daughter, and it's not safe for her. Air Force Academy grandparent, 2 Air Force Academy Air Force Academy father, and she had put, and she wants to be a pilot. And I told her, you can't do it. It's not the right time. And friends that are still on active duty, they're approaching retirement right now. Actually, they're 20 years, so a lot of my friends are getting out, or are at that point where they can get out. I will tell you that none of the good people are left.
Yep.
A lot of the good people are just saying, I can't do this anymore, and they're getting out. And for that reason, is the second reason I told my daughter, it's not the right time. You need to wait. If it's something you want to do, wait a couple years and then go back and try it. So anyway, those are my 2 stories. I can't thank you, Marcus, enough for doing this. This is what we need. This is what makes us feel better about what's going on right now. So look at all the faces. We're all here fighting for the same thing. So we're really doing that. If you're not already going to DC in June, there's a June 6th on D-Day. There's a big group of us going. We're going to march on Washington and on one side. And I'll be happily standing there with my poster like I did when Ed and I were up there that says, Trump, keep your tiny hands off my feet.
Thank you. That's excellent. Yeah.
Hi, good day. My name is Simon. My first class retired. Yes. A little important to me. Number 1, my father served the Secretary of the Military as a black officer. Yes, I am African American. I am a black. Okay, so this he served this army in World War II. 6 kids. I'm the only one that served 23 years. My daughter served. My husband served. What I have taught my children and my grandchildren, because I've served all over the world. I was in Bangladesh. I was in Moldova. I was in Greece. I was in Nepal. All over the place. What I've told my children is, you evaluate a country by the way it treats its warriors. If we evaluate our country by what we are treating our, we would be giving a failing grade. I don't go up to the Atlanta VA.
Mm.
It's a one-star. I'm a government contractor.
Mm.
Will not say with whom and
Mm.
where I go,
Mm.
because I can't.
Mm.
But I was an FTE at one time. I saw those letters that came out. I heard my friends say, oh my God,
Mhm.
this is ridiculous.
Mm.
My husband and I have done how many 50-51s
Mm.
protests? We were Stop the Steal, or whatever. We were down in Atlanta. My service dog walked how many miles with me? But we have got to go ahead and stop this. Now, I have family members I don't talk to, and I can't comprehend a young Black man who is a veteran supporting Donald Trump. My family came from one of those shithole countries, Haiti.
Mm.
Okay? Yes, I'm proud of it, and I appreciate it. A lot of white people, a lot of you that are white or not African American, I'm not sure if you fully understand in our culture how it is. For me, I tell my Black sons and my Black grandsons, I want you to be an example for yourself, for your family. I'm proud of you. I've been accepted. I've heard too many things that most my brothers have not heard. I've heard them because of others.
Mhm.
So please, we have got to do something. Trump's birthday? I know, again. Let's all have the American flag upside down in front of our houses. Every damn place that is.
Wow, that's a
Have
good
the
idea.
flag upside down.
It's a great idea.
It's Flag Day.
Mhm.
Hey, we need to show, because people don't realize. I didn't think about doing it until the fact that I saw someone at 50-51, I'm like, oh, shit,
Yeah.
that works.
Yeah. Mm.
Have a Black flag up.
Mm.
We are not giving quarters.
Mm.
We will not. We got this independence of our country by going ahead and doing guerrilla warfare. Let's damn as well do guerrilla warfare, not violently. Use the tracker. Use the 2025 tracker. If you don't know what it is, Google it.
Yep.
Strategically, let us look at everything that they're doing and cut them off. Right upside down. That's what we're at. We cannot get to midterm. We can't. We can't. I'm a 60-year-old damn woman who can barely walk. I'm crackling more than you are. I still know that I do.
Mm.
Still going there. I definitely cannot. Rights I have. And for me to think, I used to say, by the grace of God, when I was a defense attaché in Moldova, I thought it was like, hey, by the grace of God, I was born here. When I was a defense attaché in Bangladesh, seeing people born, die in the streets. You want to see poverty?
Mm-hmm.
Go to Calcutta, go to Delhi, that's in India, but go to Bangladesh, go to Nepal. You will get born and die. You won't see dead bodies. And I used to say, by the grace of God, I was born here. I felt more comfortable because, hey, I was a little bit as a, what are you? We must do something. March. White letters. Yesterday we were with Indivisible at Awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we can. But a big fear is that are not coming out because they feel like.
Hmm.
We can't.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody, what's better is we understand one thing, that we stand with one another on the battlefield. What Sergeant First Class is talking about here, it's time for us to stand with one another here at home. And it gave us a stat.
We get your response for y'all.
37% of 600,000 veterans in this state. So it's been noticed. Right. Wonder how many of those 600,000 veterans, or roughly 400,000, show up. Didn't think that their voice mattered. Didn't bother because nothing's going to change anything. You got to talk to our brothers and sisters in arms. You got to talk to those veterans. Well, it's been on the day was time to get out and vote. I was the biggest pain in the ass of my entire squad. There was something that needed to be done. I was like, all right, guys, I know it's Saturday, I know you're off time. Let's do that. Love your neighbors. And hey, if they get tired of you and say, all right, damn it, I'll go do it. Guess what? That's another vote. That's another vote.
What is the sentiment that you guys are feeling in y'all's community, families? Like, seriously, I mean, one of the things that I've always been very careful of is groupthink and just the echo chamber, right? But y'all are in y'all's communities, right? Your next door neighbors, different backgrounds, whatever. What are y'all seeing? Because I know my family, yeah, we're one way, but my neighbor across the street is not as pessimistic. They're thinking we're blowing things out of proportion. But at the same time, my next door neighbor has not really traveled much, don't know much about history, doesn't understand American civics. They don't even understand how laws are passed. So my question for y'all, when you go to your neighborhood or when you go to, Kroger, Publix, whatever, what are people thinking? Because there has to be some reason that everybody's cool with this. And I mean cool with it. Go ahead.
Simply, my next door neighbor is a Vietnam vet, he's damaged in Vietnam. Some of his Meals on Wheels.
Wow. So Meals on Wheels, I mean, that is all grant money, people, nationwide. Yeah, go ahead.
Anybody that I talk to has an attitude I found of, oh, I don't think that's really gonna happen. I really don't believe anything's going on. And I think that I live around a lot of Republicans.
Right.
Which is fine, everybody has a choice to look at things the way they want to, but they get very hostile.
You said you're surrounded by people like that in your neighborhood?
Look, man, I looked at this Trump shit and it's gonna show all of us fucked up. Take them down, I'll get out.
No, and you should feel the way you feel. Jamie, I see you got the mic. I know. Go ahead, girl.
But the young black people, I'm gonna keep it real with you. And those who know me, I can't pretend keep me outside. I'm 200 pounds and I'm getting all. And you have to understand, young black people are saying, we haven't seen me, they have not seen enough white people. We need to see white people get mad, because they got mad and get January 6th, which was a coup attempt. We haven't seen January 6th yet. We need to see that.
We need to make that happen.
But let me tell you, I'm not advocating violence, what I'm saying is, we need to see some people's skin in that. Because we're continuously putting skin in the game. When I joined the Navy, and I don't tell people I'm a veteran for a reason. My family said, how will you do that? You know you have to protect the KKK. That's not the deal with the KKK. But I can deal with the call of my nation. And so I had a younger brother and two niece and nephew I had to support, and I had no money. So when I raised my hand, I said I was willing to die. I would die for this nation. I would die for that Nazi to sit there and call me a nigger. I'm willing to do that. Because what I knew in my heart was if I survive in another nation and I get back here, I too can shoot. So when you shoot, don't miss. And it scares people around here. I know some of you hear me. I'm not fearful. Don't be fearful. I'm a kind-loving person. But when I say to you, let's have peace for pieces, I mean that. I let the election board know last year they wanted to follow us, the election workers. And I told them, you follow me, I will pull over the ballots, and I will be very afeared at least 60 times. And then I will call the police myself. You have no election escorts from our precincts back to the tabulation center. Stop being afraid. When you let people know where you are and where they leave you alone. The way they say they want to do. So that's all I have to say, but keep it real.
We can talk about slow moving food. The dog is having.
No microphone needed. You asked before about the community, feel for what's going on. I think people are afraid to acknowledge who they support or don't support. I tell you, right away, I'm awkward. I know a bunch of people, not a bunch of people, I know enough people going to awkward. I used to go in there and not say anything about politics, except sometimes you have a conversation, you let a word or a phrase slip that might be a little controversial. Then someone else will say, well, echo that thing. Yeah, I feel the same way. That's how Dawn and I met. I never knew that she was involved with politics or I guess what's going on. But I was not going to go out there and say, hey, I am against everything that Trump has done, because where do we live? We live in a red state. And I think sometimes we're afraid. I heard a statement that was made a few months back. Someone said it's regarding the news and fake news or real news. He said, I'd rather be uninformed than ill-informed because of stuff that's going on and you can't trust what you're hearing. Last night at an individual meeting at Awkward, one of the things I brought up, and I encourage all of you to do this as well. Don't believe the numbers that you hear or you read about unless you do your homework. I'll give one example. Who's the spokesperson, that crazy white lady?
Caroline Levitt. Caroline Levitt. Yeah.
Caroline Levitt. Remember, we were talking about doing tariffs with Canada. And what was one of the reasons why we went to tariffs with Canada? Because of what coming across the border? Nobody knows. Fentanyl. He said it's huge. What Caroline Levitt did in her press conference, one of the many that's falsehoods, she said, and it sounded profound, she said 2,000% increase in fentanyl coming across the border. She didn't lie. She did not lie. However, if you know all the numbers, here's what it was from the previous year. Less than 1%. About 2.5 pounds. Then last year, it was 47 pounds. Something to fit in your backpack. The numbers that people spout are going to be numbers that are going to benefit their point of view. You've got to be aware of that. I'll go back to Trump, but also not only numbers matter, but words matter. Trump was talking about the aid given to NATO and to Ukraine specifically. He said, we have given more than the European Union. He said European Union. He said we've given more than Europe. But the European Union, no, we did not give more. But But he wasn't lying. You know why? I believe if you heard, he didn't say European Union. He said, he was referring to France, Germany, Poland, individually.
Yep.
So our country versus each one of those individual countries, yes, so he was not lying, but he's telling you numbers that you want to hear or you don't want to hear. So I implore all of you sometimes when you hear things, and probably if you are fortunate enough to have discussions with friends, family, co-workers who are Trump MAGA supporters, listen to what they're talking about. If you haven't done your homework with it, what they're saying, go back and do it so you can have that rational conversation. Acknowledge sometimes, yes, the numbers that you're hearing, the words that you're hearing are true, but it's meant to inflame people. Yeah, it is. Carolina Levy, 2,000%. Not something anybody would say, that is ridiculous. We need to do something about this. We here went from 2.5 pounds to 47 pounds. French schools. So, thank you.
I agree with this. Let's be honest. Most of the bullshit coming out of this administration. Just that. I'm gonna be real. That's all they have. A lot of it's lies, misinformation, disinformation, things that are designed to make people afraid, have a chilling effect when it comes to going after political enemies. Hey, I want to. Because I speak the truth. I'm not gonna lie. Not even on Marjorie Taylor Greene. I get 100% facts only when I tell her. She did a whole lot of work. Whole lot to work with, but I never lied once. All I did was repeat what she said. Never lied. Administration. They lied. It's been asymmetric warfare on the American people since Trump first walked down that escalator back in 2015. That's what we have to push back. That's what I think Sergeant here was alluding to. We got to push back. We got to be loud, be vocal, show up, show out, support one another. Once again.
I'm sorry, Mark. She was first. I didn't see that.
Oh, we'll get to everybody. Trust me, we're gonna get to everybody.
Good afternoon, my name is Dr. Saul James. I am a doctor of behavioral health, and let me just say that I am for, not for Trump, let's get it straight, but I'm against everything that Trump stands for. I am one of those people, I am not afraid to speak out. I do not agree with any of his and his constituents, their point of view. So with that being said, first of all, let me just say, I thank everybody in here who has served, who's going to serve, and who wants to serve. Because under this administration, I am very much deterring people from serving under this administration because of everything that's going on. Second of all, I am for an advocate, big advocate, and I'm pushing for mental health. Now, let me say this, and do not get this, do not get me wrong, do not come down on me. I will not serve this country based on the facts that I have been a mental health provider for those veterans. And I think it's deplorable, I think it's disgusting, and I really think it's despicable of what people who have served for this country, the treatment, the services that are not there, and everything they have to endure. And then you have to fight like hell just to come back from maybe a war or just from serving, and then you don't even get the medical services that you need. We have homeless vets, and just everything that he's doing. For the last 30 days, I've been really just watching what's going on in the House, what's going on in the Senate, what's going on in Washington. Going to some of the town hall meetings, listening to them and looking at that on YouTube. And I had to take a break because I was like, God, but God, yeah. So for my own mental health, I had to take a break, but I just want to say that as a kind of younger generation or whatever, I am very much aware and in tune of what's going on and what's going to be. I used to work for the state, serving under Governor Kemp. As of April 10th, I am no longer with the state. And it was a mutual decision that it was best if I just left. Because everything that they stand for, I am not against, but I just don't agree with everything that's going on. And basically, I said something on my social media page, and they tapped in, so therefore I'm tapping out. And so they didn't like that, but basically, pretty much everybody that's sitting, the GOP, Republicans, they basically been paid off. And what I said was, they have loan money that will go 3-4 generations into the future, where they're trying to eliminate and erase history. My great-grandchildren will never know this, what's going on, because they're trying so hard to erase our history. And it's not only just Black history, it's all history. It's all history, because I'm a people person, I'm all people. Regardless of, what your point of view is, you can agree to disagree. And like he said about the KKK, I have no problem with them, because I know where they're coming from, and I know what they're about. It's the other people that I don't know about, because as a African American, also as a Latina, I'm still bamboozled and behooved about how Trump got back into office and all those that voted for him. Right. So he is one, I feel like, me, myself, I'm going into politics. I am now a member of the Democratic Women's Caucus. I will hope to be running for Senate. Jasmine Crockett is related to me, and she is running and hopefully, like I told everyone, I don't have a problem with those people that voted for Trump. What I have a problem with is that they are crying after he already told you what he was going to do. Yeah. That's what I have a problem with, because my thing of it is, you didn't think it was going to affect you. My mother and father have always taught me, don't do something to someone that you don't want done to you. And that's what's happening. So I want to say thank you.
Thank you. You want to? No. Did you want to speak? Oh.
So I just wanted to say, I did work for the VA for about 3 years. That was one of the reasons why I had to leave, because I couldn't make anything, make a change. But, I consider myself a secret shopper. Whenever I was done with my patients, I would go around to see what was happening, the long lines, when you were waiting for your medicines. Why nobody's picking up the phones, in the eye clinic, things like that. Trying to make something better there. And it was very, very hard. What I want to bring to your attention is, you've heard of the Congressional Budget Office. Okay. They came out with something called a budget option. And Doge has a copy of it. Brian Jack must have a copy of it. And so a couple of the things that they're looking at is where they're going to try to save money. And one of the ways is those of us that have our disability, once we hit 65, they could take away 30% of your disability because you're now receiving Social Security. That's something that's on the table. Let's see a look at. Okay. I have had people call me that says, you know what, I've been on disability for a while. I just get a phone call. Guess what? They're going to re-look my disability.
Yep. That's happening in real time. Permanent disability. That's happening in real time. Oh, I know. Oh, leave me on it.
Another thing is they are trying right now to make it harder for anybody to get their 100%. There are people within the Heritage Foundation, as well as the Republican Party. They don't believe PTSD is an actual issue. That maybe that if you got PTSD,
Jesus Christ,
that maybe it only needs to be 10%. that this is something that is only supposed to be temporary. This is not a lasting or long term. So these are the things that I'm trying to pay attention to, that's out there, keeping my ears to the ground. These guys have been the front face, so with us all working together, we're gonna make sure that we stay protected.
Mark,
I just want to mention this before I forget, being 70 years old. And this is not VA related, but it's still military related. 25, it's estimated that 25% of enlisted troops and their families collect welfare and SNAP benefits.
already, yep.
Okay? In other words, the 3% of the officer ranks.
Yep.
And they're cutting
Yep.
that as well. So I just wanted to, having been married to a social worker, being a school teacher, I think about stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I don't want us to lose sight of that.
I'm sorry, go ahead, gentlemen.
I'm not gonna use the microphone, hopefully you can hear me okay. Army captain, retired pilot, airline pilot, retired, still consultant here and there. And I have friends, I'm a Republican, I was a small business owner, my family was Republican. I honestly was sort of agnostic about it, and have never voted. The first time I voted was against Trump.
Mm.
I was a Republican. Republicans are not that kind. So there was a difference. And I still talk to my Republican friends, and the first thing they say is that he was elected with the majority, that's all. They're the majority, so they get to do what they want to do. That's how things work.
Right.
So I said, okay, let's draw a circle. Here's all the people that could vote. Okay. And let's draw a line right down the middle. And these people didn't vote. Half of them did not vote. Okay. Now we got the other half that did vote. And how many of them were Republicans who voted for Trump? Which is not quite 50% of the half that's left. So it's like 24, 23%. And then what? Voted for Kamala. That's slightly smaller, 22%, whatever, and independents. Well, half of the people didn't vote for him. He didn't get most of the people. He didn't get most of the votes. Kamala and so this concept that they get to do what they want, because they have this mandate. Yeah. 25, going to 23 and 22. That's not a mandate. You know, it's no basis for doing all the things that are contrary to our previous national values.
Mm-hmm.
It's just wrong. My business is consulting as an expert witness. I work with a lot of attorneys.
Mm.
And I gotta tell you, what they're doing to the legal system, like challenging big law, like challenging the university.
Mm-hmm.
This is extortion.
Yes.
This is tit for tat, quid pro quo. This is what we have in third world countries. Why none of the aid we provide gets to the person that needs it, because everybody takes their share along the way in a transactional basis. This is wrong. This is not the way the country is designed to operate. And we can't let it continue. It will break the media, it will break the institutions, it will break the law system, which we all rely on. I mean, we can't allow it. It's extortion, and it's obvious. And then I don't think they're doing a very good job of concealing it. They're trying it.
No, we're not.
And you can't function that way for long term. It's got to stop. So that's my 2 cents.
No, thank you.
Thank
Does go along what he said. One of the most disgusting things for a lot of these companies, these law firms, they're capitulating in advance. Meta, other companies like that who did everything they could to help Trump become reelected. Because they saw a trend and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna get on this and we're gonna face the backlash. That fear is real for a lot of businesses out there. It's for small businesses who are the backbone for our economy. Meanwhile, they're getting wrecked. These tariffs that are, they're gonna hurt not only small businesses, but farms across the country. I mean, we're about 3 or 4 months away from really feeling the impact of this crisis.
Yep.
That's where we are.
Quentin.
You guys know me.
Yep.
Coach Q, Quentin Cohen, United States Marine Corps, United States Navy. One thing that he didn't mention is that they're arresting judges.
Yes.
Saw that today.
What I wanted to say to you guys is this. When they refer to us as veterans, they refer to the veteran what? Community, right? When they refer to us as Fayette County, Fayetteville, wherever you are from, it's the community. So the best thing that we have going for each other is each other. How many people garden in your room? No one?
Garden.
Gardeners here. I know I'm not going to do it, okay? So in our community, when things get hard, you lean on each other. So we start teaching each other what we know. So right now, I'm also the vice president of NAACP. We have a project going on right now with community garden. We're teaching people how to build gardens, how to grow their own food. We are putting together sources where you can go get meat from local farmers. So we support each other as a community. Now, we're all military. Community is one team. So you guys know when I say one team, what do you say?
One fight.
One fight. One team!
One fight.
It's a bunch of retired people up here. Come on.
It's been a long week. It's been a long week.
One team! So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start joining the organization. If you're tired, go for a walk. Make that walk longer. Come out and protest with it. I'm also on the board with 5051 Georgia. I was at the protest for presidency at the Capitol. Got really, really activated. So now I'm participating in every single protest, every single march that I can. Okay? Yesterday I sat in a meeting with them. We're going to start extending and partnering with Indivisible and other local organizations with 5051. 5051 simply means 50 states, 50 protests, one mission. Okay? So we're going to light this place. I saw a news story today. Right? And the $400 million that they made was because they had investments. So basically they made $600 million. Protests in front of Tesla, they're starting to hurt. And they're the only automaker right now, president, being protested that are hurting. Some people, oh, protests don't work. I'm too tired. I'm too this, I'm too that. If you're tired, take a fucking nap. We got work to do. So we're gonna get out. We have all kinds of things. I spoke about the NAACP. We meet every second Saturday of the month at Flat Rock Church over here, Mary Johnson's church. We meet everybody. This is a team thing, a community thing. If you're sitting at home doing nothing, nothing's going to happen. Okay? So we need to get together as a community, as a veterans organization, as a veterans community, and start looking out for each other. Right? One team!
Hey, what's that?
Oh, wait, last, like you had mentioned, over at Upward, talking about the NAACP. Yes, sir. We're saying is a lot of people have a misconception that it's done by black folk, for black folk. And then you gave a little bit of history. Yes. Would you mind for the rest of us here explain that why I started? Okay. So this is, I got recommended by a guy who didn't understand that I'm a scholar. I'm a thinker, man. I looked up the history of the NAACP. How many of you know that the NAACP was founded by not only black people, but 3 white people? You know that? Of course, you knew it.
No.
So when I talk to people in the community, they say, okay, the NAACP is a black organization. No, It's not, you know? We need allyship in order for us to succeed. The Black community in America is 12.8%. Someone 12.8 has ever won anything. Never, right? So we need allies of all people. This is why the founders, the original founders, had their influence, and they said, look, we're fans. We know what the mission is. We know what we have to do to help get civil rights, equal rights, equity, all the things that they're taking away now. So we banded together. And if you recall, when Dr. King marched, it was not just Black people. The March on Washington was very diverse. But what does the media do? I'm only going to show Black people, right? I'm not going to show the allies, because if I show that, then other people are going to go, wait a minute, even I can go out with them too. Absolutely, we can come out with this, right? So I will keep you guys posted. I'll talk with you, Bobby, about all the things that 5051 has won. This is the biggest protest in the United States. It's a movement. We got
Really
to
is.
every say yes. I go by Coach Q, but my name is Clinton Poland. I actually ran for county commissioner last year with my man up, you know. And so we run it again next year.
Nah, you're running again next year.
But yeah, so I'll keep you guys abreast of everything we got going on, all the protests and all the things that are going on. Like this weekend, it's community day for 51. What they're trying to do is teach people in the community while we're out there how to behave, how to actually interact and talk to people so that it's not confrontational, so it's peaceful. Now, the other part with you mentioned about our young Black people being afraid to get out there and protest. The biggest difference between the 60s and now is we got an integrated police force. We got an integrated fire department. We got integrated government. And so it's not the same thing. But mark my words, if it's a Black Lives Matter protest, there's going to be rubber bullets and riot here. We haven't seen that. Okay? So it's a lot different when you have allyship at these rallies, because they're not going to do this while we got our cell phones and all these other things. So it's different. We've got to get out there. We got to get active. We're not awarded the opportunity to sit on questions and stand back.
Now,
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, sure.
My name is Gary Rice. Rice is my son-in-law. I have two things. The first was 2 months ago, my son, Bryce's brother-in-law, is still an active reservist. And I had to sit him down and talk to him about illegal work. Because he's still serving. And there's no doubt in my mind that there will come a time when push comes to shove that this administration will reach in that direction. And he needed to be thinking about it now. The second thing that I wanted to mention was about each of us reaching out to the community. We live kind of rural in the south part of the county. So we have a few acres of pasture in front of the house. My wife put up a rainbow flag. Surprisingly, we had neighbors stop by and thank us. To actually express yourself. Yeah, we also have people that throw trash, in the ditch in front of, along the road in front of the house. But we had neighbors pull down the driveway, which when you live rural, somebody pulls down your driveway, the first thing they're worried you're going to come out with a gun. So we were kind of surprised when neighbors came by and thanked her for putting that out. So it's okay to stand up and
So we are literally right at the edge of our time for the room. First, I just want to thank all of you, not just for coming out. I definitely want to thank you for that, but thank you for taking interest in your country. Old habits die hard, right? When you love something, you want the best for it. And quite honestly, I think there are a lot of Americans that love our country. They just never really had to think about it, or they don't realize what we're up against. vets, we've been all over the world. We have seen the worst of humanity and the best, right? And we have a choice that we can make. Yes, sir.
Sorry, I keep saying stuff. For those in the military, E1, O1 to O10, CW1 to CW5. From day one, we have been taught to be leaders. This is a time for us to either lead, follow, and get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah, pretty much.
But we have the power, we have the knowledge that we have done for 4 years as a single enlistment, or for 34 years. We are leaders. We need to act.
And our communities will follow us. They will follow us. The most trusted organizations in American society still are the United States military branches of service. Overwhelmingly, every Pew Research poll they do. So we've got to utilize that. My email address and Ed's is behind me. I answer all my emails. I get back to you within 24 hours. That's an old naval officer habit that I cannot seem to break. My wife hates it. But please, if you have any questions, anything you want to convey or relay to us, please let me know. Please let me know. I'm getting emails now from all over the world. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. You know what? And I'll leave you with this. Our allies of other nations are asking, what are we going to do? That email I get at least once a week from some place. They're like, what is America going to do? What do y'all really stand for? Because y'all got to remember, we were the example for them. And now they're like, if y'all fall, what does that mean for us? So keep that in mind. Those are your marching orders. I really appreciate it. Thank y'all for coming out.